These Trick drive shafts are great. A major upgrade for many of the double pedals out there, including the DW9000s. However, there is one major problem with them. No memory locks. This seems like a major oversight considering that even the DW drive shafts come with one memory lock. Luckily, I have found an easy and cheap solution to add some aftermarket memory locks. Traditional memory locks won't work here, the ones made for cymbal stands, and you probably can't transfer memory locks from your old drive shaft either. For example, my DW drive shaft is a square memory lock, whereas this is hex, 6-sided. So what are we going to use instead? These guys. And while they won't fit perfectly, they will be good enough for our purposes. Now these things, they're called a double split shaft collar or just split shaft collar. And there are a few important things to know when you go to pick one up. The first thing to consider is the size. Now when you're looking these up, when you're looking at the product descriptions, you'll see a lot of numbers thrown out there. You're going to see the OD or outer diameter, that's the overall size. You'll see the collar thickness. You'll see the collar width, but what we really care about is what's called the bore diameter. That's going to be the space inside. You may see that as the inner diameter. You may also see that listed as the shaft size. For this particular split collar, the one that's going to fit onto my Trick drive shaft, this uses a bore diameter of 12 millimeters. When you put this on your drive shaft, you'll see that because of how large the split collar is, the two halves of it are actually going to be touching. Now, that means it's not going to have a very strong grip, but it will be good enough for our purposes. Just be sure to not be slamming anything against the split collar. I had previously tested with a slightly smaller collar before, basically the American size of this, one step down. And you can see that when that goes on the drive shaft, it leaves a slight gap between the two halves of the collar. The next thing to consider is the material. These come in steel or stainless steel or aluminum. Buy the aluminum. You're far less likely to cause any burrs or damage on the drive shaft with this softer metal. Keep in mind that the drive shaft metal itself is probably aluminum. Now these split collars, they don't take traditional drum keys to open and close them up. Instead, you're going to have to use an Allen wrench. Just simply slide one of these onto the drive shaft and then tighten up both sides with the Allen wrench. Or if your drive shaft is currently attached to your pedals and you don't want to take that apart, then you're going to have to just take both of these screws out completely and then reassemble it over the drive shaft. Be sure that the seams from the collar line up with the edges from the drive shaft as shown here. Now, these are cheap enough to buy, say, two, one for each drive shaft, or buy a couple extras just so you have them laying around. Probably the most expensive option on getting these is through a site like Grainger. If you want a cheaper option than that, then head over to Amazon. I find I can get a 4-pack of these on Amazon for less than the cost of one on Grainger. There is one downside though on the ones that you're going to get on Amazon. The thickness of this collar is a lot bigger than I think what you see on Grainger, so these are just a lot more bulky as a result. I also assume that the Grainger version probably has better tolerances, but again, we're not doing anything mission critical here, so the cheaper version on Amazon is probably good enough for us. I'll include an Amazon link to some similar split collars in the description below. Now, once you've got your memory locks, there is probably one more thing you're going to want to add, a travel case. And while Trick doesn't offer any such travel case, there is a simple DIY solution so you can build your own case for Trick or really any brand drive shaft. And you can find out more about how to do that right over here. Until next time, peace.